In 2009, the Patterson family checked into room 237 at the Starlight Motel in Arizona. They left their luggage, their car, their wallets, but they never checked out. Over the next 12 years, 5 more families would vanish from the exact same room. The motel owner kept renting it out, kept taking their money, kept telling police he had no idea where they went, until investigators found what he'd been hiding in the wall. November 15, 2000. Location: Starlight Motel, Highway 89, Yavapai County, Arizona. The Patterson family pulled into the motel at 8:47 p.m., exhausted from driving since dawn. Robert Patterson, 42, construction foreman from Denver. His wife Sarah, 39, elementary school teacher. Their daughters Emma, 14, and Lily, 11. They were heading to Phoenix for Thanksgiving with Sarah's parents, decided to stop for the night instead of pushing through. The desk clerk, Vincent Morales, 62 years old, gave them room 23, second floor, corner unit, view of the desert. Robert paid cash, signed the register, took the key. Security footage showed them carrying suitcases up the exterior stairs, Emma helping Lily with her backpack. At 9:15 p.m., Robert called his brother-in-law to say they'd stopped for the night, would arrive tomorrow afternoon. At 9:47 p.m., the pizza delivery driver knocked on their door, saw Robert accept the order, heard kids laughing inside. At 10:30 p.m., the room's lights went out. By 7 a.m., their car was still there. By noon, still there. The maid knocked, got no answer, used her key. The room was empty. Not just of people, completely empty. No suitcases, no clothes, no pizza boxes, no trash. The beds hadn't been slept in. The bathroom was dry. It was as if the Pattersons had never entered the room at all. But their car remained in the parking lot, doors locked, Emma's teddy bear still in the back seat. Robert's wallet was in the glove compartment, with $600 cash and all their credit cards. Sarah's purse was under the passenger seat, her phone still inside, battery dead. Vincent Morales told the responding officers he'd heard nothing unusual. No arguments, no vehicles leaving, no disturbances. He seemed genuinely confused, even helped search the property. The case went cold within 6 months. The Pattersons' families hired private investigators, but every lead died. The room was cleaned, repainted, and rented out again. But here's what makes this story take a dark turn. March 8, 2012. The Morrison family. David Morrison, 38, software engineer. Wife Jennifer, 36. Son Tyler, 12. Driving from Seattle to Austin for a job interview. They checked into room 237 at 7:23 p.m., paid cash, went to dinner at the diner across the highway. The waitress remembered them clearly. Tyler had spilled chocolate milk on his shirt. Jennifer had left a large tip. They returned to the motel at 9 p.m. The night clerk, still Vincent Morales, saw them go upstairs. At 11 p.m., a guest in room 236 complained about loud television from next door. Morales called the room. David answered, apologized, said they'd turn it down. That was the last confirmed contact. Morning came. Their rental car remained. The room was empty, pristine as if professionally cleaned. But this time something was different. Tyler's Game Boy was found in the parking lot, crushed as if it had fallen from the second floor or been thrown. July 19, 2014. The Chen family. Michael Chen, 45, restaurant owner from San Francisco. Wife Linda, 41. Daughters Amy, 16, and Grace, 13. Road trip to visit colleges. Same room, same result. But this time, a trucker sleeping in his cab saw something at 3 a.m., a large panel van backed up to the motel's side entrance, near the stairs to room 237. 2 men loading large containers. When shown photos, he couldn't identify anyone. The van had no plates. September 2, 2016. The Williams family. Marcus Williams, 40, former Marine. Wife Diana, 38, nurse. Son Jason, 10. They were moving from Virginia to California, all their possessions in a U-Haul trailer. The trailer was found the next morning, still attached to their truck, but completely empty. 20 years of memories, gone. And the family with them. But wait, here's where the pattern breaks. Marcus Williams wasn't just a Marine, he was a military police investigator, trained in survival and evasion. Before disappearing, he'd done something the others hadn't. He'd hidden a note in the toilet tank, written on a napkin in pencil. VM is not alone. Basement. 3 locks. They're still here. VM. Vincent Morales. December 10, 2018. The Rodriguez family. Carlos Rodriguez, 43, attorney. Wife Maria, 40, pediatrician. Twins Sophia and Elena, 15. They almost didn't stay. Maria felt uncomfortable, wanted to drive to the next town, but Carlos was tired, convinced her one night would be fine. Their car's GPS showed they never left the parking lot. Their phones pinged the local tower until 2:47 a.m., Then nothing. This time a detail emerged that investigators had missed before. The motel's registration books showed room 2037 had been occupied every single night for 9 years, but credit card records showed it had only been paid for maybe 60 nights total. Vincent Morales had been marking it occupied when it was empty, turning away guests, keeping it available for specific targets. April 5, 2021. The Foster family. John Foster, 37, FBI agent. That's right, the sixth family included a federal agent. Wife Rebecca, 35, also FBI. Daughter Mia, 9. They weren't traveling for pleasure. They were investigating the other disappearances. Decided to stay in the infamous room themselves, wired with hidden cameras, backup units stationed nearby. At 2 a.m., all their equipment failed simultaneously. The backup units lost all communication. By 2:30 a.m., the Fosters were gone. But Rebecca Foster had managed something incredible. She'd live-streamed from her personal phone to a private server, disguised as a social media post. The footage showed Vincent Morales entering the room with a master key at 2 a.m., accompanied by 3 other men. But here's the shocking part. Morales looked directly at the camera and said, "Hello, Agent Coleman. I know you're watching. Check the basement. They're all there. They've always been there." Here comes the revelation that changed everything. April 6, 2021. Location: Starlight Motel basement. The FBI tactical unit found a reinforced door hidden behind a false wall in the motel's basement. 3 industrial locks, just as Marcus Williams had noted. Behind it, a tunnel system extending 200 feet into the desert, ending in an underground bunker built in the 1960s as a Cold War shelter. Inside the bunker, they found them, all 6 families, all 23 people, alive. They were living in a makeshift underground community, convinced the world above had ended in nuclear war. They believed Vincent Morales had saved them, brought them to safety just in time. Each family had been told the same story, that they were the lucky ones, rescued moments before the bombs fell. They'd been shown fake news broadcasts, heard recorded sirens, felt what they thought were distant explosions, but were actually controlled demolitions in the desert. The children had been attending school, taught by Sarah Patterson and Maria Rodriguez. The adults had jobs, maintaining the shelter, growing food in the hydroponic garden, preparing for the day they could return to the surface. They'd built a functioning society underground, unaware that the world above continued normally. But here's the truly disturbing part. Vincent Morales wasn't working alone, and he wasn't crazy. He was part of a group calling itself the Phoenix Foundation, wealthy individuals who believed societal collapse was imminent. They'd been conducting an experiment. Could they convince rational people to voluntarily remain in captivity if they believed it was for their own survival? Each family had been specifically chosen. The Pattersons, Robert had worked construction on military bunkers, knew how to maintain underground facilities. The Morrisons, David's software skills were needed for the computer systems. The Chens, Michael's restaurant experience for food management. The Williams, Marcus's military training for security. The Rodriguez family, Maria's medical knowledge. The Fosters, the ultimate test, could they fool trained FBI agents? The selection process had taken years. Morales and his associates had monitored thousands of families passing through, choosing ones with the right skills, no close family ties, and travel patterns that wouldn't raise immediate alarms. They'd drugged them with a paralytic agent that left them conscious but unable to move, transported them to the bunker, then used a combination of drugs and psychological manipulation to implant false memories of nuclear explosions. But wait, there's an even darker truth. The Phoenix Foundation wasn't preparing for societal collapse, they were trying to cause it. The bunker experiment was Phase 1, proving they could create isolated, controlled communities. Phase 2 involved dozens of similar facilities across the country, each housing kidnapped families convinced the world had ended. Phase 3 was actual attacks on infrastructure, forcing the government to move populations into emergency shelters that the Foundation would secretly control. The documents found in Morales's office detailed 17 other active facilities. Each one had between 10 and 50 people living underground, believing they were survivors of various catastrophes, nuclear war, biological attacks, climate disasters. The Foundation had created an underground network of slave communities, each producing goods and services that were sold on the surface, generating millions in revenue. Agent Coleman, who'd been watching Rebecca Foster's stream, had mobilized units to all 17 locations simultaneously. They recovered over 400 people, some who'd been underground for as long as 15 years. The youngest children had never seen the real sky, believed the bunker ceilings were all that protected them from a poisoned atmosphere. The reunion footage was heartbreaking. Emma Patterson, now 26, had spent 12 years of her life underground. She'd graduated from bunker school, married Tyler Morrison, had 2 children who'd never breathed real air. When told the truth, she didn't believe it at first. None of them did. They'd been so thoroughly programmed that reality seemed like the lie. Vincent Morales, whose real name was Dr. Gregory Ashton, was a former CIA psychological operations specialist who'd gone rogue in 2001. He'd used techniques developed for enemy combatants on American families, perfecting methods of complete reality replacement. During his interrogation, he showed no remorse, insisting he'd given them better lives, free from the corruption and chaos of modern society. The Phoenix Foundation's leadership included 12 billionaires, 3 former military generals, and a sitting senator. The investigation revealed they'd been planning this for 23 years, investing over $2 billion in underground facilities, psychological research, and personnel. They'd created detailed plans for governing post-collapse America, with themselves as regional controllers of survivor populations. But here's the final, most chilling revelation. Not all the families wanted to leave. After 12 years underground, some had adapted so completely that the real world terrified them. The Patterson and Morrison children, who'd grown up in the bunker, suffered severe agoraphobia when brought to the surface. Marcus Williams had become the bunker's security chief and struggled to accept that the threats he'd been protecting against were fictional. The Chen family split apart. Michael and Linda chose to enter witness protection, but Amy, now 23, returned to the bunker with her underground husband, convinced life below was safer. 3 other families from different facilities made the same choice, creating a legal nightmare. Could adults choose to live in a false reality if they preferred it to the truth? Dr. Ashton was sentenced to life in federal prison, but during his allocution, he made a chilling statement. "You found 17 facilities. We built 53. 36 are still operational, still collecting families, still growing. You'll never find them all. And even if you do, by then they won't want to leave." The FBI continues searching for the remaining facilities. Every few months, they find another one, recover more families who think the world ended years ago. Some adapt to the truth, others never fully accept it. The children raised underground require years of therapy, struggling with the revelation that their entire reality was fabricated. The Starlight Motel was demolished in 2022, but locals say on quiet nights you can still hear sounds from below ground, generators humming, voices echoing, footsteps in tunnels that supposedly no longer exist. The desert has a way of keeping secrets, and some believe not all the bunkers were found, that somewhere beneath the sand, families still wait for an all-clear signal that will never come. The Phoenix Foundation's membership list was sealed by federal court, deemed too sensitive for public release. But financial records suggest several members were never arrested, their resources moved offshore, their locations unknown. Intelligence agencies believe they're building new facilities in other countries, perfecting their techniques, waiting for another chance to reshape humanity according to their vision. As for Room 237, investigators found one last detail that haunts them. In the wall, behind layers of paint and plaster, were scratches, dozens of messages carved by desperate people in those final moments before the paralytic took full effect. "Help us. This isn't real. Don't trust him. We're still alive." They were all still alive. They'd been alive the whole time, living a lie so complete that some still prefer it to the truth. And somewhere in America, in hidden bunkers yet undiscovered, more families wake up each day in artificial light, check radiation meters that always read danger, and thank Vincent Morales for saving them from an apocalypse that never happened. The real apocalypse was the one they were living, a carefully crafted fiction that stole years of their lives, turned them into unwitting prisoners, and proved that with enough planning, resources, and psychological manipulation, reality itself can be stolen from those who trust too easily. The case remains open, the search continues, and every missing family on America's highways is now investigated with a new question: did they disappear, or were they collected?